Hello everyone and welcome to this video, which is a part of my YouTube playlist One Day on Tour. But basically this video is not really on one day of tour, but it's more about one day before the tour, what is happening before the tour. I had a lot of footage of me talking and explaining what was happening before the upcoming tour I have with Benighted, but it was very long and complex, and I'm just going to summarize everything in this video. In this video and the next few ones I'm going to make in the one day on tour YouTube playlist, I just want to explain to you how great it can be when you are a professional or semi-professional musician and when you are on tour. But I also want to explain that it is a lot of struggles, a lot of anxiety, a lot of responsibilities, and that yes, it's not that easy. Definitely, it's a lot of work and a lot of responsibilities and stress. So let's get started with this video now. I just think that's the perfect example to show you both the great side and the difficult side of touring. Is a US tour, and the next tour I have with Benighted is a North America tour with Aborted, Cryptopsy and Hideous Divinity. To my opinion, to tour the US is one of the most exciting experience you can have as a touring musician, but it's also one of the hardest, and it's a lot of stress when you have to go to the US. Basically, if you are not living in the US, you need a P1 visa, which is basically a visa for recognized alien. So it is a visa that allowed you to perform inside the US as an artist. And in order to have that visa, first of all, you need to reach the USCIS and fill an I-129 petition. So you need to prove to the USCIS that you are famous enough to tour the US, and you have to prove your employment in the US. So, of course, first of all, when you want to tour the US, you need an opportunity to do that. But just after, you are going deep into that very, very hard visa process. So you need to pay the USCIS to get your documents, but you also need to pay an attorney to help you with that process. And you basically need to pay for the fast-track procedure, because otherwise you can wait for your document from the USCIS during 9 months or even more. So you definitely need the fast-track procedure. Everything included, we are talking about 4,000 euro already, so you can see that it's really difficult. We did that as soon as possible with Benighted. We began that process in December. The tour was still not 100% booked, and we had to wait that the tour was 100% booked to fill the petition at the USCIS, but we were working with the attorney before. So once we received the complete itinerary for the tour and all the event contracts, we were able to fill the petition with the USCIS, and it was mid-February. And then 2 weeks later, we received an answer from the USCIS, and it was a request for further evidence. So that means the USCIS was asking us further evidence of what we are going to do in the US. They were asking to prove a little bit more than that we were going to tour the US. So we sent back a 30 pages document 3 days later. Our attorney did a great job with that. And at that moment, we were 2 weeks before the tour, and after you answer a request for further evidence, when you have the fast-track procedure, the process can take up to 2 more weeks. So that was, at that moment, a lot of anxiety and stress, and that was not a good time for me, because I was supervising the whole visa process. So I was feeling kind of responsible of all of that. Of course, it's not my fault. It's not if we have a request for further evidence, but I was really feeling a lot of anxiety at that moment, honestly. But we were, in our bad luck, very lucky, and we received the final approval from the USCIS, so the form I-797B, 3-4 days after we send our answer to the request for further evidence. And at that point, we were able to book appointment at the US Embassy. Julia and I were able to book appointments previous Monday, so 8 days before the tour, and for the others, all appointments were already booked by other people, so they had to go on Tuesday and Wednesday. And at that point, I was a bit anxious because we were still waiting for the I-797B to reach us by mail, because they just send you an email to say that yes, you are approved by the USCIS, but you don't have the official documents. This document comes by the mail. But on Saturday, just before the appointment, we received that, and on Monday we were able to go to the appointment with Julien, the other on Tuesday and Wednesday, and all our visa gets approved. So at that point, I just thought that no more issues can happen, because all the last time I was issued a P1 visa after the appointment in the embassy, the process was really fast. In fact, the embassy just has to print the visa, put the visa inside your passport, and send the passport back to you by the mail. And in general, this is super fast. So after the appointment, I was like, yes, it's okay now. I'm sure that we are going to go to the US. So we had already booked our flight at that moment, because all flights were getting 100% booked, or were getting very expensive. So flights were booked even before the request for further evidence. And after the appointment and our visa approval, we booked our RV, our motorhome, to tour the US. So at that point, we are talking about 10,000 euros of expense. And what happened is that the process was longer than usual at the embassy. By Friday, not all visas were sent, and in fact mine was missing, and still in administrative processing at that moment. And that was extremely stressful, because I was just expecting now an issue with the mailing process, and then I just realized that yes, the others were going to receive their visa by Monday, and then we are going to flight on Tuesday and Wednesday. It was the flight we booked originally, but my flight was this morning, so we are Tuesday. And so on Friday, as my visa was not sent, I knew I was going to miss my flight today. So I went to our show on Saturday with that very weird state of mind, and hopefully, thankfully, the show went really well. I was experiencing just before a lot of issue with my drumming, a lot of issue with feet and hands technique, just because every time I was playing, I was thinking about that visa process the last 2 weeks. And then I was not focused on what I was doing, and that's it. That's what happened. I was not able to drum anymore. I was really bad at drumming, even worse than usual. But I just had probably 2 good practice sessions before the show, and the show went well, so now I feel 100% ready for the tour. And yesterday, Monday, I was waiting my visa to be sent the whole day, and just before the embassy closed, I've received an email that yes, my visa has been sent, and I now have my tracking number. So I immediately booked another flight for tomorrow, because I want to be tomorrow in the US in order to be in the US for the first show on Thursday. And basically, if I leave on Thursday, I will be too late in the US for the first show. So I really want to leave tomorrow. I booked a new flight then, and I'm just waiting home now that my visa is delivered. I've tried to reach UPS and say to them, just don't try to deliver the visa, keep it somewhere, and I'm going to pick it up myself. I take the road and no problem, I drive. But my visa has already left the deposits today, and it's on its way. So I just hope that yes, it is going to arrive by the end of this morning or the end of the day. Otherwise, I won't make it to the US on time, and I will have to book yet another flight. So the tricky situation is that I had to book a flight because it's last-minute flight, so you don't have a lot of seats. And if I receive my visa, I don't want to be stuck in Europe with the whole band in the US, because Julien's flight this morning The others are going to fly tomorrow morning, so I just have now to find a way to go to the US and receive my visa as soon as possible. So, as you realize, it's a lot of expense, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of pressure. It's very difficult. The last few weeks have been very hard, and I always had to find solutions to problems. But it seems that I'm reaching the end of this, and that we will make it to the US for the complete tour and not miss even one gig. So I'm getting very excited now about this, and I really want to land in Chicago tomorrow. So hopefully the next video is going to be one day of tour and not one day at home when you are supposed to be on tour. Wish me good luck, and see you next time for a lot of on tour footage video. Cheers!